Welcome to Dialogue. I'm Sean Warner, the Dean of the School of Education, and I'm here today with a special guest, Dr. Festus E. Obiakor. Today, Dr. Obiakor is going to explain why he's here on campus at Clark Atlanta University. And I actually want to start or open the program with, Doc, if you could tell us a little bit about your educational training, your professional background, and then what you are doing currently.
Yeah, I'm glad to be at Clark Atlanta University. You know, it's an opportunity for me. You know, whenever you call, I'm here. For me, you know, I came originally from Nigeria, and I came straight to Texas, you know, to pursue a graduate degree at Texas Christian University, where I was the first black to get a master's degree in special education. I learned a lot working with the folks I worked with over there. It was a school that was almost like an Ivy League in Texas. I got the opportunity to interact with some of the richest white people in this country, and I learned some of the white values very, very well. You know, I left Texas Christian to pursue a PhD at New Mexico State University, again, where I was the first black to get a PhD in special education. But while I was there, I was really interested in the area of self-concept. My advisor advised me to take some classes in psychology to be very knowledgeable about the construct, self-concept. And I took a couple of classes. The chair of the department said, "You're making our A's here. Have you thought about picking up a master's degree in instructional psychology?" And I was like, "But I'm working on a PhD." He said, "So you really want to be well prepared. You have a knack for psychology." So I registered, and my advisor did not know that I was working on a second master's degree in special ed. So when he knew, he was like outraged, because he said, "What about if you fail the master's degree? Don't you think it will affect your PhD?" But I said, "I will not fail." Well, picked up a master's degree in special ed, in psychology, in summer of 1986, and in fall of 1986, I picked up my PhD in special ed. So, first black. Then, since then, I focused my research on self-concept. And I had to, you know, as you work on your PhD, you learn some things that are really, really interesting. I decided to fit it into, you know, working with at-risk students, African-American learners, and culturally and linguistically diverse learners. After my PhD, I got 3 job offers. And
Where were they?
Georgia, Frostburg State University, and Ross College, Holy Springs, Mississippi, a predominantly black college.
This is Ross College?
Ross College.
Okay.
So since I knew I was going to be working, I'm going to be writing on African Americans, my research will be focused on African Americans and so on, I just didn't want, in the end, for somebody to say, "You foreign black, what do you know about being black?" So I remember that in other schools, you know, I got, my job offers were like 28,000. At Ross College, my job offer was 16,000. I decided to go to Ross College. While I was there, I wrote my first book, started a journal, and the president, Dr. Macmillan, was so impressed. He said, "Boy, you were born Q." So he said, "We want you to pledge Omega," and I pledged, became a Q then, you know. So in 1988, 22 years ago, and the rest is history. Continued my research on African Americans and at-risk learners and self-concept. By 1995, I was a full professor, even though I got
That's
my
quick.
PhD. Yeah,
That's very quick.
because I was working hard. I wasn't interested in politics. I wanted to succeed. One thing that got to me when I was working on my PhD was my advisor. I was interested in doing a study, and I did not see lots of work on minorities and multicultural education. And I said, boy, you know, I don't have so much in the literature. My advisor laughed and said, who needs does anyway? You know, and that statement still rings a bell in my head.
What did that mean to you?
It meant that somebody needs them. So I asked him, I told him, but I need them. And since then, I've not stopped writing. And this was even buttressed by my meeting Dr. John Obu. When I met Dr. John Obu, I met Dr. Esa Hilliard. I asked them, how do you get to be so well known? Dr. John Obu told me the same thing Dr. Esa Hilliard told me. They gave me 3 rules. They said, rule number 1, write. Rule number 2, write. Rule number 3, write. And since then, I've been writing. And if you look back now, you know, we have more than 150 scholarly publications. And we're not done because we think we have a voice. And that's why I encourage minorities or African Americans to write, because if we do not tell our story, who will tell our story for us?
This is
you
true.
know? And you know, if somebody tells your story, trust me, the person will tell your story to suit himself or herself. So it's better you tell your story. And if you use oral tradition, sooner or later, the story will not, by the time the story goes from one person to the other, it will not be the same story. So the sooner you put it in writing, the better. So that becomes my motivation to do the work I do.
If someone were to ask you the question that you asked Dr. Ogbu and Dr. Hilliard, how would you answer in the same way, or would you answer in the same way and add something else?
No, I will say 4 rules. Rule number 1, write. Rule number 2, write. Rule number 3, write. Rule number 4, make a difference. Because you might be writing something foolish, like the bell curve. You know what I'm saying?
Hernstina Murray, yes.
Yeah, the Hernstina Murray's the bell curve. That's something foolish, because even common sense, it cannot even stand common sense.
It was foolish, but it sold.
It's sold because of the white power, white privilege, and white supremacy. In fact, it wanted to classify people and as a unit. And that was why it sold. It played on the underlying racial supremacy.
So you're saying, in
whites.
a sense, it
Yeah.
supported the belief system that already was in place?
Sure. So people wanted to use it to confirm themselves. And if you read that book, it contains lots of data for those who say, let's look at evidence-based. Just because something has data doesn't mean it makes sense.
Okay.
So you have to know how to interpret that data. Right. And they were you know, because the same people who said we are less intelligent. If you look at that book, it's really dangerous, because they said African Americans have 2 standard deviations below the mean when compared to white people. If the mean of an IQ test is 100, so African Americans are scoring around 75, which is, as a special educator, educable cognitive disability. Then they actually
Explain
said,
what that means.
It means that, you know, these individuals have problems adapting to life's instructions and so on. That's why, if you look at it, most white people get upset when you have a black quarterback, because they think we cannot think.
Yeah. I want you to hold that point, Doc.
Yeah.
We'll be right back in just a few minutes with dialogue. Again, the dialogue. Doc, you were raising finishing a point about, I think the term that you used was educable. Say it for me again. Cognitively
disabled.
Okay, okay. And you were saying?
These individuals have IQs of 2 standard deviations below the mean. So they function intellectually, they are not functioning at the same level. They're not of average intelligence.
Okay.
You know.
What about those African Americans or those blacks that perform above? Well, what were they saying about those folks that were performing above those levels?
No, the same people will go, well, those people must have experienced must have had white experience.
Okay.
And the same people said that African Americans or other minorities score higher than Africans. So that puts a typical African in the severe, profound cognitive disability range, which means almost at idiocy stage. That's why, people do not believe, if you look at Tarzan, Africans are supposed to live with animals, yet they run away from those animals, and the white guy will come and kill the animal for them. So you can see, even in your own territory, they try to show you that you're actually mentally inferior. So that's why we must all work hard, and we must all tell our stories, and let people know what we do, and let's be known for what we do. Because to teach me is to know me. If you do not know me, you will not know how to teach me. And if you do not know me, you will not know how to tell my story. And remember, the story people like to tell is the story they like to hear. Yeah. So if I feel superior, I would like to hear stories that show I'm superior. I would like to hear stories that show you are inferior. I would like to put you down. I would not like you to be in leadership positions because I do not think you can think, or you're a problem solver, or you're a creative thinker. You know what I'm saying? I would not think that you're an abstract thinker. So I will try to minimize, your mental proficiency or your mental capability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doc, talk a little bit about why you are here today at Clark Atlanta University. What you're here to do? Yeah,
I'm here to be a part of the Policy Dove Education Colloquium. I'm going to be talking about the mismeasurement of multicultural education because my view is that people have bastardized multiculturalism,
Talk about
in
that.
education. For example, you hear the conservatives talk about, that multiculturalism disunites us. How unifying are they? Yet they blame you for balkanization or tribalization. Yet they've always been tribalistic, and they've always been balkanizing. You know what I'm saying? They don't like you to live in their neighborhoods. They don't like you to come to their own schools. They don't like you to assume leadership positions. So that's a form of balkanization. So if you say, now I want you to hear my voice, I don't just want to be melted in that pot, then they accuse you of balkanization. So then the liberals have also bastardized multiculturalism. Multiculturalism does not mean bringing any food from the street. It means quality. Diversity without quality is like a house without a solid foundation.
Explain what you mean by that.
So I believe that diversity is quality. And if we look hard enough, we see quality people from all races. Giftedness, talentedness goes beyond racial boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And in life, we have to try to